With us now is former Vermont Governor Howard Dean. He ran for president in 2004 and later was the Democratic Party's national chairman. Good morning, Governor.
Good morning. How are you?
All right, Governor. Even former Virginia Governor Doug Wilder, the first African-American governor in this country, said yesterday that Joe Biden's remarks were divisive. We've got 82 days to go until the election here. Is the restraint already gone from this presidential race, and should President Obama be doing more about it?
Look, I don't. The Republicans are going to do these things. The Democrats do it too. When somebody says something that's modestly controversial, the other people feign great indignation and huff and puff, and then it goes away. This is actually not good for Romney, in my view, because Romney's got to start talking about the economy. He's picked a controversial vice presidential nominee who wanted to turn Medicare into a voucher program. That didn't work so well for him. Then he spent a lot of time defending the fact that he won't show his tax returns. He's got to talk about the economy. So I actually think while the Republicans got all in line and said how outrageous it was that Biden said this or that, they've got to start really focusing on the economy, and they haven't done that yet, and they have no chance in this election until they do. So this is an inside-the-beltway huff and puff. It'll be gone in a week, and they'll be on to the next thing. But it really would be nice if they started talking about the issues.
Yeah, I hear you, Governor, saying, it's huff and puff. I've heard some people describe it as tit for tat. Do you recall it being this nasty when you were running?
No, this is a very nasty campaign, and the reason is that you have a president who's weakened by having a bad economy. On the other hand, you have a nominee who's out of step with the American people on the Republican side. The tax return stuff and the Cayman Islands bank accounts is really serious. I think Romney's probably a pretty good guy. The problem is if you don't play by the same rules the rest of America does, you can't expect to be president. And that's his big problem. That not giving out the tax returns is a huge mistake. Then he picks a very nice guy, but a very controversial guy whose views are pretty extreme economically on things like Medicare and Social Security, and that's a problem for him too. So it's going to be a really nasty negative campaign. Then, of course, you've got Citizens United, the Supreme Court's contribution to American democracy, and yes, I'm being very sarcastic. So hundreds of millions of dollars are going to go behind these ads, and it's going to be unfortunate. It's going to be a negative campaign. There's not much we're going to do about it, and I think both sides are going to have to try to do a better job focusing on the issues.
Governor Romney is saying he's running on his budget, not Paul Ryan's budget. But Paul Ryan's budget has become very much at the center of the debate here. Is it fair to tie Romney to the Ryan budget plan?
Sure. During the primary, Romney said he was going to support Ryan's budget, and he'd sign it if it got to his desk. So this is kind of revisionist history. There's a lot of that stuff going on. A couple of days ago, Governor Romney said that he wasn't for deregulating Wall Street. Well, he's been running on deregulating Wall Street for 6 months. This is nonsense. There's going to be all kinds of stuff, people trying to pretend they didn't say what they said during the primary season. The American people are going to sort this all out. They really will. They often, eventually, the American people usually get it right, and in this case, re-elect the right person, if I may be very partisan.
Paul Ryan says that he welcomes a debate on Medicare, that he's ready for that. Do you give him at least any kind of credit for taking on what has been a tough issue for both sides?
I do give him some credit for that. Unfortunately, his solution was totally unnecessary. You don't have to destroy Medicare. What they did with Medicare, essentially, by turning it into a voucher system, is transfer the risk of overspending from the federal government, where it's doing us some harm, to individual seniors who can't afford it. The average price tag for Medicare for an individual senior is going to go up $6,000 in the next few years under Paul Ryan's plan for Medicare. That's the privatizing Medicare. That's not a good idea. So I do give him credit for taking on Medicare, but I don't give him credit for the solution he chose, which is really a radical solution that I don't think the American people are going to buy.
Governor Howard Dean, thanks for being with us this morning.
Thanks for having me on.